Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio.
Greetings to all our audience all around the world. Good evening. Good evening. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Greetings to all our audience all around the world. Welcome to another engaging episode of the Slow Parenting program on Nostalgia Radio. I am Itunulua, your host for today. And for newcomers, this is where we discuss parent-child communication to help parents savor the joys of family life. And today we'll be discussing the topic, the temptation to say, but he is a boy now. And our vast and experienced resource persons will do us the honor of further exploring this topic. I take the topic again. The temptation to say, but he is a boy now. And that's the topic we'll be treating today. I don't know if Pastor Mrs. Yetunde Banjo has joined us on the call for today. So I'll go ahead to introduce her.
She's here already.
All right, thank you.
Can you see my face now?
Yes. Good evening, Ma.
Good evening, Itunu. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you too?
I'm very well, thank you.
All right. Pastor Mrs. Yetunde Banjo will be speaking to us today, and she is passionate about women's issues, parenting, and helping people discover and fulfill purpose. You are welcome to the program, ma'am.
Thank you once again. I'm glad to be here.
Okay. Also joining us today is Dr. Sarumi Oyewole, the lead coach of the Coaching Network, and he is committed to assisting youth find focus in the new world. Welcome, sir.
It's a pleasure being here, Good to see you again.
Thank you, sir. And we have Mrs. Boluwatiwi. I don't know if she's on the call already. Hi, Mrs. Boluwatiwi. Not yet.
Just introduce her. She's here to come. Just introduce her.
All right. Mrs. Boluwatiwi Ayo Paleke, who will also be speaking to us today. She's a writer, author, and a creative intelligence coach who is committed to helping people improve the quality of their lives. And finally, joining us in the program today is Dr. Richie Adewusi. Dr. Richie Adewusi is the founder of the Slow Parenting Incorporated, the nostalgiamedia.net, and he is also the author of so much of the needed resource materials on parenting, including 7.5 Temptations Parents Face. Dr. Richie, you're welcome to the program.
You're muted. You're muted.
Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And I apologize I didn't get the hint across that Mrs. Ayo Palike sent in an apology earlier to say she will be joining us later on the program. So sorry I didn't get that across.
All right, no problem. Diving into the discussion questions for today. And the first question we'll be diving into is, what roles does traditional gender roles and expectations play in reinforcing preferential treatment of male children within families. I take that again. What role does traditional gender roles and expectations play in reinforcing preferential treatment of male children within families? And I will be asking Pastor Mrs. Yesterday to open the floor for today and help us to buttress more on this topic. What do you think about this topic? What's your take on it?
A very good choice, with the army.
And why do you say that, Seniority?
There's an army of men. So let's go.
Oh my goodness, interesting. Thank you, Tunu. Well, Seniority knows that all my kids are male. All my children are male. So, but you see, the truth of the matter is that, I wonder why we're even asking this question, because that's our society is a gendered society, right? Very patriarchal. And the way we socialize, the way we raise our children is along those gendered roles, those gendered expectations. So right from when a girl is young, there's a way she's raised. So the expectation is that the girl, because that's everything. The way we raise our children, the way I was raised, it was just based on these gendered roles and the fact that the guys have a more important role to play. And so you are raised that way. So a girl is taught how to sweep from the time she's little. Because I remember the time when my mother would sit on my neck and give me a broom to sweep. My brothers were out playing soccer. They were playing soccer in the yard. When she would say, come and sit with me in the kitchen and make sure, even though I wanted to play out there, she would insist that I sit with her in the kitchen, and my brothers would be out there doing whatever they were doing. So, the way we raise our children in our societies, whether even in this part of the world, though, it's a lot different, but you'd see in the family unit, there's still these gendered expectations, these gendered roles that have been ascribed to whether you're male or female. And the males have to them, they have a more important role to play, because the women are cast as, and they're stereotyped and brought up as the subservient ones. They're going to be nurturers. They're going to be homemakers. They're going to be the ones who are domesticated. So they have to be taught those things. It has to be inscribed in their consciousness that this is what you are going to be when you grow up. You're going to be a wife. Because I remember, back when I was little, and I would not, my mother would say, hey, men like to eat, they like to eat good food. So you need to know how to cook, that kind of thing. So those things, those expectations, they're inscribed in you from when you're little. And then the guys, they are already told from when they're, and even when it comes to things like expressing emotions, the guys will fall. Like if I fell as a little girl, my father would say, oh, sorry, wipe my tears. But when my brothers would fall, say, come on, men don't cry, don't cry. Because you wipe your face. You can't be crying like that. You are supposed to be strong. You are not supposed to express emotions. You are supposed to be assertive, because you are going to be the breadwinner. You are going to be the provider. You are going to be the head of the home. You're supposed to be, an independent thinker. So you cannot, begin to express emotions anyhow. That's for the men. Women were encouraged to cry. Yeah, women are supposed to cry. So it was okay for women to cry. It was okay for women to sweep the floor. And, in the way that people are raised, they keep reinforcing those things. Like, so some things that a woman would do. Like if a woman is very strong and independent, the society frowns at it. Even in your family setup, they'll be like, hey, I remember sometime, I can't remember one decision I took. And one of my uncles was saying that you are acting like a man. I'm like, how do men act? Says, no, women should not, because, by my nature, I'm very decisive. I go think about something and I prefer to make a decision. It may be wrong, but not to make a decision it irritates me, gets on my nerves no end. So I really can't, people who can't decide, I don't. But women are raised to not be able to think for themselves. They need to refer to someone before they can conclude on something. But before I can even run it through anybody, I've been up my mind, and I've been like that since I was quite young, at least since I could remember myself making decisions. But they would see that as a more masculine trait. And it's not encouraged, because I could say, why are you like this? They expect you to be supple. They expect you to be weak. They expect you to be easily malleable. But when men express those, hey, you're a correct man. That's how men think. And then even in the way that we assign, the way we assign tasks in the house, in the family, you see that women are given the more domestic things, and the guys are given the things that seem a little more difficult, so to speak, which are not often everyday tasks anyway. You would have the boys go out there. They are playing soccer all night long. They come in, and even when they come into the kitchen, they'll chase them out. What are you doing here? Go out. There's no room for you here. It's women we have here. So right from there, we're already, reinscribing those traditional roles as we raise them, as we bring them up. And what happens is that the ladies or the young girls grow up thinking, oh, I'm for domestic things. I'm to be subservient. I'm to be a particular way, to be seen as a good woman. And the guys grow up thinking, yes, I am entitled and privileged. That means that I can eat my food and leave my plate at table and walk away. I remember hosting, for people who live in this part of the world, that it doesn't roll that way. When I had some guests, some time ago, and the wife is here, the husband is in Nigeria. And when they had finished dinner, my husband just got up from when he finished, he said, please, madam, can I have water to wash my hands? And the wife was like, we don't do like that here. We don't do like that here. Please get up and go to the sink and wash your hands at the sink. But that's what he feels is the right thing. He finished the food, wanted me to bring water to wash his hands. The way we've been socialized, or that's the way he was socialized. But when you get here, there's like a kind of reorientation. So right from when back to what we're talking about, right from when kids are small, they're already given this notion that this is the role you're expected to play, and you must exist in that role right from now till you grow. That it just kind of concretizes the notion that some people are more privileged and some people are less privileged. You are more privileged and preferred if you're a male, and you are less privileged and less preferred if you're female. So that's just what I would want to say for starters. I know that we're still going to speak a little more.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Doctor?
You're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Dr. Sarumi, we would like to hear your take on this topic, on this question, rather.
Yeah, Pastor Yetunde has said much about it, so I would not like to repeat, because she has mentioned societal stereotypes and sometimes also career aspiration and also emotional expression. And I think she also mentioned household chores also, and the uncommon bias that a lot of our parents also
I think we're having a technically challenge. So
developed through such discuss, this type of stereotype openly and and critically with the children. And we should, as a parent, we should promote activities and interests that goes beyond these traditional gender norms. The issue of gender is in our days, we don't call it gender, we call it sex. But because of other things that have come up now, that's why it's being called gender. So those traditional gender norms need to be discussed with children, especially when you have both male and female. Then we should also look at what I call equal opportunities. We should discuss that so that you encourage both your sons and daughters to explore different career paths. Like in India, most chores that are household are done by women, while doctors, lawyers, for males. And even in some part of Africa, farming in Kenya, in Zambia, even in some part of Nigeria, like in Igbo land, women, they cultivate cassava, while men do other hard things like cutting trees and what have you. So I believe also that to counteract this, we need fair division of labor so that we ensure that household chores are shared equally among both boys and girls so that they can be developed, and then they can cultivate self-development and also ability for them to know how to do things as they grow up. So parents may also need to have, develop conscious efforts by being mindful that because of the way we were developed, we have that potential to become biased. Therefore, we should strive to offer what I call
Oh,
Since Dr.
it was through.
Dr.
He was thrown out.
Oh, okay. Um, Dr. Richie, would like to can just take over.
Oh, well, we seem to be having a lot of technical issues today.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will get better before we are done. Thank you so much, to know. I was busy really laughing when Ms. Sanjo was making her presentation. Well, incidentally, me, I like to take my own thing from the experiential story viewpoint. I don't have the experiences you have, and that's why I'm laughing. Okay? My experience was almost like Mrs. Banjo's family, almost like that. But in her own case, I think one way decided that, okay, no, we're not going to follow that route of let's look for a girl. Okay? It landed me in big trouble, me as a baby. Yeah? My mother was looking for a girl when she had me. Can you see the difference? So my experience wasn't a good one at all. Whether the one I had or the one I felt myself, she was looking for a girl. I had 3 brothers before me. Okay, my sister was the second, and they were never friends. So my mother was looking for, and she went and shopped for female baby clothing while expecting to I mean, look, if I didn't think I was going to tell the story. I would have sent my baby picture to the backroom guys, to the technical group to say, okay, show this is my baby picture. Okay. So you see that whole thing, it's real. The traditionally assigned or society assigned gender roles, which had become pervasive in the general society, starts from the family, is sustained in the family, and then projected through the family to the general society. When we are talking about over here, over there, look, the whole issue of over here and over there don't hold water. If you want to see how porous that, when I say over here, Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, Latin, wherever, if you want to see how porous that whole issue, how much of it is a man's world that this is, Go into any country's legislative body. Who are there in control? Who votes them to office? Go to the Congress in the US. Who are in the majority there? The Senate, who is the majority there? Then Nigeria, where you guys are, who are in the majority? Go to India, who are the, you know, we say these things as if it's the family that starts those things. And unfortunately, even the women who are fighting this gender wars, is okay, we too were there. Guess who votes the males to end up in those positions? It's the females. Who perpetrates the gender preference in families? It's the mothers, not the fathers. Correct me if I'm wrong. Who tells the girl, come here into the kitchen? You have to join me here. Who turns the blind eye when the boys are playing football and the compound instead of having to do one thing or the other? Who throws tantrum when the girl comes back late home and then doesn't say nothing when the boy comes back the following morning? Who? The mothers. So you see, it's good that we're asking this question here because we're talking parenting. Whatever you see show up in the larger society, guess where it started from? It's a family. It's from that perspective that we're looking at this. It might be funny, we might laugh at it and all of that, but it hasn't paid any of us. Look, what has generated the whole whatever fruits the whole gender war has born now? What's created it? Family roles, family gender roles. When we have made some of our female sisters, aunts, colleagues to feel that it's only when you behave like a male that you can get noticed. It's only when you behave like a male that you can be respected. Of course, you had more females started looking up at becoming males by whatever name is called, by whatever, you know. So we look, I think when we react to certain things in society, we are reacting to symptoms. We don't look at what are the root causes of those things. It's that family where you have a sister and a brother growing up, and they drop the sister who might be the firstborn because, okay, they have to make a choice about who has to go to school. They send the boy. Why? Because he's a boy. It's simple. He's a man. He's the heir apparent. You already reinforcing that guy gets trained, gets to school, treats other female colleagues at school, schoolmates, as second-class citizens. That's what's inside his head. He graduates from school, gets to the workplace, sees his female colleagues as some kind of, lesser human beings. And then, unfortunately or incidentally, this Superman would end up marrying a wife. Guess what will happen? Okay? So we reinforce these things. It started in the family. Yes, we're asking what role do we think he played? The role he plays is that he hasn't helped the general society. It has made society to be at war against itself instead of collaborating, cooperating, combining to get things done as teams. Society has become a society of them and us, which are now giving back to a third concept and phenomenon, which is now consuming the public space. Okay? It's consuming the public space. It's being pursued in legislative bodies across the world. If you don't agree to this, if you do not recognize this group, you cannot get this, you cannot. What caused it? Gender bias in homes, perpetrated by mothers, reinforced by the general society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that contribution. Dr. Sarumi, welcome.
Yes, I think I was lost.
Yeah.
But now you are
I
found.
Now I'm found. Yeah, then,
Mm.
You didn't hear me?
Yes, you can.
You were thrown out before you finished what you were saying, sir.
I was just wondering. I just finished and I look and I discovered that I wasn't there anymore. I think Dr. Richie has concluded everything, so I think we should just move on so that we don't. Because I didn't even know where I was cut off. So
No, I think you actually at the end of your discourse, rather contribution.
okay. And that's okay. So it's good that Dr. Richie has topped it up, because I wanted to dwell on some of the things he was saying, so which was quite good.
All right, thank you.
But I'm not going to be, but I wouldn't have been that very blunt like he's saying. Like is the women. I wouldn't have been that blunt. I would have been.
Actually, I was going to. I just wanted you to finish speaking, sir, before taking that up.
Because I wanted to. I don't think it's.
It would be nice to take
that's
it up.
including.
Go ahead, take it up.
That shouldn't rest.
Take it up.
Yes. Speak on it, sir.
Huh?
Speak on
Should
it,
I continue?
Sir. Yes.
I don't agree entirely. Although you are likely to be speaking from experience. So, but then I want to believe, based on my experience also, and interaction with families and what have you, it falls on the two parents, both man and woman. We have seen some family where it was the father who was promoting the girl child over the man, over the boys. Love the girl child so much that the woman has no choice than also to be propping up the boys, because it was becoming a problem in the house. So that's why I don't want you to skew it to the woman alone.
Dr. Yawale, that is a 1 in a million situation.
No, there is no research to back up even what you are saying also.
I will jump in, Dr. Richie. I will jump in.
I'm saying that it is both sides. It is both sides.
Yes,
it's both sides. You can't just lay it on the woman side alone. That's what I'm saying. Pastor Yetunde, come in, please.
Thank you, sir. I was going to say that because I wanted you to finish talking when you came in before I now take that up. You cannot lay the blame. Maybe it becomes apparent to you while you're growing up that your mother is doing those things. Why? Because she's the one who is your immediate, she's the first enforcer of things. But I have found that both parents, they do it. So this perpetuation of male preference, it is a matter of both parents. So even though my mother is the one who would sit me down and say, you have to do this, you have to do that.
Let me correct something here. I'm sorry.
Let me finish speaking, sir. The
I want to
make the matter is that the fathers too, they had their own way of saying, oh yes, you don't know that you're a man. Why are you in the kitchen? What are you doing? Men don't stay in the kitchen. So these are the notions, these are the ideas that a lot of male children grow up with. Men don't stay in the kitchen. I remember, and I'm talking about my husband's cousin, his male children, when they are in the kitchen, you say, what are you doing in the kitchen? What are you doing there? And I'm talking about, my children's cousins. What are you doing in the kitchen? When they came from Nigeria, you can't be in the kitchen. You're not a nonsense husband. Oh, kishoko yebu yebu. Kilo sheni kitchen, jade meye. So that's the father. So that child grows up thinking that, oh, I have no business in the kitchen. If I am to be a man, if I'm to be a husband, I cannot be found in the kitchen. So the perpetuation of that preferential treatment is not only done on the side of mothers, it's done by most parents. But the thing is that most mothers, because they spend a lot of contact time with their children, it's easy to see them demonstrating that, but both parents do.
No, wait, I said, sorry.
Please don't say anything, Dr. Richie, yet. Don't say anything because you belong to another class.
No, Dr.
Now, what I want to say is that because at this stage I'm a scholar and there is need to. I understand that male privileges are very high in the world today.
Has been like forever.
No, he's very high in the world. And let me just, there was a lecture I gave some time ago, and I can just say a few things so that you can understand. But that perspective that you are bringing in, that it is mother that is causing it. I want to just, I'm aware that male privileges statistically in the world is very high. Men earn like 18% more than women on average globally.
23%.
Women, they do nearly
Well,
18.3%.
Dr. Sarumi, I'm sorry. Your statistics are good, okay? Experiences are super, okay? Like, you see,
You have not allowed me to finish, but go ahead, no
you,
problem.
Miss Banjo took over from you, and then you said she should continue. Now I said I want to correct an impression. If I don't correct it, it might stay with all of us and those who are listening.
Go ahead.
I never had any of those experiences. That's not so that nobody goes away here with that. My mother was the opposite of those mothers. Let me put it that way, strictly now. And as a father, as a parent myself, I am in the mode of leave the boy to do what he wants to do in the kitchen. I think I've told one of those stories here on the same stream about my son cooking meals. Even when he was burnt offering, I had to eat it to encourage him. And then how to encourage the other ones when they come back and say, look, nobody should complain about this food. Eat it so you don't discourage this man from cooking going forward. My mother never, I have also shared severally here that in spite of the fact that my mother had maids and all of that, she made all of us cook. We're males. Now, the point I'm making here is that there's something about getting something started. There's something about sustaining something. There's something about reinforcing, okay? The fathers are always there. The male figures are always there in the background, okay? To lend, but the ones, you don't see the fathers being the one to say, why are you coming back now to a girl? No, it is the mother. And I grew up in two different cultures. The Yoruba, the Igbo is the same thing. Let the boy and the girl go out and let the boy come back late. Nothing happens. It's your mother that will confront. It's really the father that will now, they'll say, okay, I'll go and report you to your father. That's the final authority behind there that, okay, you see. But, I'm not, research is not lacking in this area as well, okay? Even when I'm not presenting any papers here to say these are the statistics and all of that. When I pointed out the facts or the issues of, let's look at legislation, you're going into salaries. Salaries is taking it, yeah, it's there, but look at the ones that people can see. Who are in the majority in governance? Who are in majority in industry in terms of leadership and captains of industry? What is responsible for that? It's all of this that has started mildly, if you like, from homes. That impression that have been given to boys and that impression that have been given to the females to say, okay, your role is just to play along with them. And that is why they continue to be the ones to vote, to get back people, whether they are males or mostly males, to be in governance, to be the captains of industry. I was reading the story of, I think the first female chief executive officer, I think, is it Taiwanese or Japanese airline? I think it's Air Japan or something. I can't remember which one now. She grew from being a cabin crew, okay, over the years, and there was an issue about, but she's there, she had everything. But even she herself didn't feel easy to lead, an organization in a country that's male, in a world, not just country. Even as, if you like, fair, that was fair in it. Even as neutral as you might say, North America, Canada, US, is it, who are still the ones leading here? It's still a battle. It needn't be. It needn't be. We are saying right from the grooming stage, sorry to use the word grooming, right from the developmental stage of children, okay? parents develop gender blindness, okay, in encouraging their children to progress, to grow.
Thank you, Dr. Richie. Thank you to all our resource persons for the contribution. Now we'll be going on a short break, and when we are back, we'll be discussing the topic: what are some strategies for promoting gender equality within families and combating preferential treatment of male children? So that's the topic we'll be treating when we are back from the break.
Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. No- Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio. Embrace nostalgia. Nostalgia Radio.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Before we went for the break, we were discussing the topic: what role does traditional gender roles and expectations play in reinforcing preferential treatment of male children within families? And now we'll be going to the second question, which is: what are some strategies for promoting gender equality within families and combating preferential treatment of male children? I take that again. What are some what are some sorry, what are some strategies for promoting gender equality within families and combating preferential treatment of male children? So, Dr. Saromi, I would like you to buttress more on that. Of male children, yes. Sorry, sir, in 4 minutes because we're running out of time. Yeah, yeah, I'm just okay, okay. All right. Thank you.
as avoiding phrases like boys don't cry, like Pastor Yutunde said, or boys don't throw like a girl. We should avoid all those gender languages for chores and activities at home. Instead of saying that, we should, saying, boys don't cry or girls are good at helping or whatever. We should promote phrases like everyone needs to be brave sometime, and we all need to help to clean up here and there, whether you are a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter. So, and then I think I mentioned this before, and I just emphasize it. We should provide varieties of activities and toys, not the one for girls, not the one for boys. We should do it in such a way that other boys or girls will handle any of them. Because some homes, they will give dolls and stuffed animals to girls, while they give constructions set and trucks to boys. If you want to use that, we should equalize play and ensure that what you are giving to girls can also be used by play with the boys, and then the girls also can do construction and all of those things that are solely recommended for boys. So once we are able to promote that shared responsibility, it's going to lead to shared decision making, and then we can be able to validate all of this in the mindset of the boy or girl. And then parents should also celebrate individuality. So I think I've spent my time. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Richie, would like to hear your take on this topic.
Thank you so much. First of all, let's be clear. When we're saying gender roles and then gender bias, and what exactly are we talking about? There is nothing. There's nothing biologically. There's only one thing. One thing. Even that one thing now is being seriously challenged by science. Okay? There's only one thing that human beings are programmed to do that one can do, one cannot do. And that one thing is childbirth, which is also why I'm saying now that even science is challenging that. Meaning there's only one between a boy and a girl, a man and a woman, that one can do everything else in the world naturally, and one cannot. There's one thing that one cannot do. It's only women that can do everything else under the sun. Everything. Okay? Including childbirth. Men cannot, whatever science is doing is fake. It's not natural. It's still, as it were, okay? Not natural. Okay. So when we are now talking about combating gender roles, that's the children need to have that understanding that there's nothing that makes you different from your brother or your sister. Okay, there's nothing that your brother can do that you can't do. You, brother, there's only one thing your sister can do when it's time that, well, you can't do. Okay, and that is conceive, carry baby to term, and deliver a baby. The sister can climb palm tree, can climb Iroko tree. In some communities, in some cultures, it's a taboo for women to climb trees. Okay? We can understand the reasons that the elders or whoever were the progenitors of those communities thought about such for a very long time. There was a huge debate, even in the US Army, to send women, to enlist women into the US Army as combatants. Okay, they could be enlisted to play roles in some other areas and all of that. You know, maybe drive fly transport aircraft, not combat aircraft. But all those were proven wrong over time. That yes, it feels it's still the male thing to say, how can a woman take bullet? It's still the male thing. You know, the women, of course, fought it themselves to say, okay, why should you be feeling sorry for me? I'm the one that's going to take the bullet. I want to be in the army. I want to be a combatant soldier. So while we are the ones complaining, we should be the ones to start the solution. There's nothing your brother can do that you cannot do. There's nothing your sister can do that you cannot, except one thing. It's only when it comes to the male child that you should be able to tell him there's something your sister can do eventually that you can't. But every other thing, by example, not by talking. They go out, you're making rules in your family. We're talking about the family now. You're setting rules, you're setting boundaries in the family. Be gender blind when you are setting those rules. Have the same lights out time for the boys, have the same light out time for the girls, have the same dates time or hanging out time with friends, come back time for the boys, for the girls. Same thing, okay? Like Pastor Sarumi said earlier, Dr. Sarumi said earlier on, when you go to buy toys, even toys, okay? Even here in the North, the so-called the environment where there's no gender, it's even more enforced here. You see, buy construction equipment and all of this kind of equipment as toys for boys, while we continue to buy Dolly, Barbie, and the likes. You understand? So it's double speak. But I guess that we don't really understand what is happening at that stage. Most parents don't really think about it that way, that what they are doing at those stages have, formed lasting impressions in the lives of their children. And these things get carried on into school, into the workplace, okay, into the general, society, into the homes of those children when they start their own homes, and it's perpetuated. That's why the whole issue of who reinforces it, who starts it, they happen. Okay, my mother taught all of us to cook. I can cook today because my mother said you could cook. Okay, my children, at the point, I said no more housekeeper at home. Even when there were housekeepers, as I said, point, don't clean their rooms again. Don't wash your clothes again. Everybody wash your own. Okay? You eat, you wash it. You break, you pick, you scatter, you arrange it. It's not go and call housekeeper to come and arrange or anything. So it's not a case of academics. It's let parents, okay? Every family has its own challenges. But let every family within those challenges, because it's easy to say, I'll end with this example here.
Okay.
Now, in that family where there's a financial challenge, 2 children have to go to school, okay? You have a boy, you have a girl. Maybe the girl is the first, or even the boy is, it doesn't matter. In choosing who this family should support, have a discussion. Let there be a conversation. Let the children be involved. Then you look at the academic performances of the children. And don't be sentimental. You look at the academic performance and follow that so that it is seen by both of them, by everyone concerned, that there was a particular pattern that was followed without bias, okay, to arrive at who will go to school first, because we don't have enough resource to send everyone that is qualified and is ready to go to school. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your contribution. Pastor Yetunde Ranjo would like to hear take on the question.
Okay, strategies. Dr. Sarami has spoken about some, Dr. Ritchie as well. I would just like to say this, the scripture says that in Christ there is neither male nor female. And for us to have, that equity, and just to settle the notion that somebody is one gender is more preferred than the other, it is important from the get-go that you establish that in this home, desensitize everybody to the issue of gender. Say that in this home, there is no male nor female. everybody is a child. A child is a child. Every child is a child in this home. Yeah, there's no preference for maleness or femaleness. So we're going to treat everybody as a child. That means that involves every area, whether it's assigning tasks, household chores. In my own case, because all my kids are male, there has never been that issue of, oh, the girls will do one particular kind of, all the boys here, they clean, all the boys, they sweep, all the boys wash toilets, all the boys cook food. Everybody has a day to do everything. So there's there's nothing to get whatever about. So everybody has to do the same thing. The only difference may be each individual's leaning or preferences for particular things as they grow older. And that's just, drilling down to individuality. So in terms of house chores, everybody does the same thing. In terms of emotional expression, from when they were little, if they wanted to cry, I'll let them cry. The ones who didn't want to cry, who thought, oh, I wanted to be strong, I let them express themselves that way. So that I don't say, boys don't cry. Those phrases were not common here. Boys don't cry. I could just say, be strong, don't cry now. But it was not a matter of boys don't cry. So, and then also in terms of, our career choices, you see that from when children are young, they're socialized in such a way that they cause the females to think in certain directions. These are the career choices for women. These are the career choices for men. And there's a certain gendered occupations. When you talk about nursing, you don't find a man who readily, in our environment back there, who readily wants to go and do nursing, but they could push girls towards nursing, towards teaching, towards administrative kind of things. But the ones that require more heavy lifting, like medicine, engineering, medicine, you don't find the girls going there. But, whatever your kids are interested in, let them explore. What I have found is that over time, a child may say at age 4, he wants to be an astronaut. The next year, he wants to be something else. The year after, but eventually what they really want to do does not concretize until they almost get there. Even sometimes they get into the university and they're still not sure. They're feeling their way. I just allow them to explore. I've never insisted this is what you must do. Although my husband is probably more like that. I want you go and do medicine. I say, you better let them go and do medicine. If this one wants to go and do the video and be singing, I don't care. As long as he's happy with what he does and it brings him money and he can feed himself, let's go and explore. Allow them to explore. The time in which I grew up, you would say, okay, they would choose courses for you. If you're not doing medicine, you're not doing pharmacy, you're not doing law, you are not doing, what are you doing with your life? But I say, no, times have changed. I just want them to be happy with whatever their choices are. They're not compelled. They're not under compulsion. So, I just allow them freedom of expression in whatever they want to do, however they want to do it. Because they were all boys, I bought them the toys they wanted to buy. I didn't buy them what I felt I ought to give them. So I would be like, what do you want? So, they never made a choice of Barbie dolls. They would never. They would choose things that boys chose. Whatever was raining in their school, then they'll come and say, Mom, we want Beyblades. Mom, we want this. And that's what they would get. So, basically, when it comes to children, there must be the need to allow them the freedom of expression. Allow them to say, okay, this is how I want to. And, you talk through it. Even if you have a different opinion, allow them, because it's just that we're such a society that we see everything through the lens of gender. We see everything through the lens of gender. When a child makes a choice, whether it's what to study or whether it's what to buy, you're always looking at gender. Gender is the first lens through which we view things. But, when you allow them freedom of expression, allow them to make their choices, they may get to that choice and find that it doesn't work for them. They can make that decision and they'll backpedal and choose again. But, allow them the freedom of expression and let them desensitize this gender thing. It'll help them to grow up in a more wholesome way. And so that, even in the society out there, it allows them to think, I am a girl, but I can be whatever I want to be. It's up to me to do whatever I need to do to get there. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. Before we proceed, there's a question I want to ask. It's personal, like it's something that we young ladies experience when it comes to a lady and a guy. maybe in just 2 minutes, I don't know who can put more light, shed more light on these questions. Like, okay, you meet a guy. I don't know if it is something okay, normal, and the guy asking you to cook for him. Like probably you are still friends or you are dating. I don't know if it's okay to cook for them at that stage. So that's the question.
Pastor, you to the answer.
Why are you assigning the work to me, sir? You to say your own. All right. So the question is that, like, a guy and a girl, they meet and they're dating, right?
Yes.
And then the guy says, girl, cook for me.
Yes.
I think the girl should ask him, why? Why should I cook for you?
Okay.
Yes, true. The girl should ask him, why should I cook for you? Because I know that, you know, the kind of things they put in our minds is that you must be able to cook. And then the guys too will be thinking, I don't want to marry a girl who cannot cook. So in that way, they are trying to test you out. Can she cook? Why must you marry me because of whether I can cook or not?
That's the major reason.
I
get that's the major reason.
Yes.
The boy is testing the girl.
He's trying to test you. So I'm not auditioning for your cook. So I'm not auditioning for the role of cook. So I do not care to cook for you. Why must I cook for you? That was one thing. You know, I had growing up, I had a number of male friends. And some of them, excuse me, sir, please put your hand down. Let me finish talking. I had a number of male friends, and some of them would ask me, please, can you do something for me? If it's just as a favor, you know, if it's just as a favor, yeah, you could, okay, sure, I can help you. Then I would help, you know, I'd go to the market, cook, and then I would tell someone to come and pick it up. It's not because I want to be auditional. He's trying me out whether I'm a good cook to marry. One thing is that my husband that I married, I never cooked for him once before we got married. I never, because I'm like, you know, you either accept me the way I am. And the interesting thing about his own case was that every time he came to visit me, I was burning something. My food was on I was cooking something in the kitchen, and then I'll get distracted. And then while I'm sitting with him and talking, they'll say, auntie, your food is burning in the kitchen. I'm like, put something on. And I forgot. But he never faced him. Actually, so it never faced him. It never faced him. I remember a particular time we went out together. We went for an event. So they served us dinner. So the dessert, I was eating it. I was like, oh, I like this thing a lot. I make it. And he said, oh, it must be really simple to make. I'm like, what?
I was raising my hand. Please, can I talk now?
Hold on. He said, it must be really easy to make. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, oh, well, when you said you know how to make this, oh, it wasn't late. It wasn't until a few minutes later. I said, he thinks I cannot cook. I did not correct that impression. It wasn't until we were married that I could. This is so good. I said, so what did you think? You don't know I'm a first daughter in my home. I've been cooking since I was age 10. So because I was burning my food all that while did not mean that I didn't know how to cook. I said, one of the reasons why I married you was because you've never even asked me to cook for you. And you were willing to accept me like that. That whether she could cook or not, I'm marrying this woman. So this one that you say, come and cook for me because I'm auditioning to be your chef, it's not going to happen. You know, it's not going to happen for me.
Excuse me, ma. Okay, excuse me. This was a question of I'm asking for my friend. So would answer it.
It's asking for a friend in you.
Asking for a friend in you. We understand.
Yes, so
we understand. But the point here
understand.
It sits both ways. Okay, it sits both ways.
But sir, do women ever say that men should come and cook for them so they will know if they can cook? No.
Yes, I have known such people.
So that to know if they can cook.
I have known such people.
Most cook for them.
Well, okay. Now, where is the cooking being asked for? Is it in the male's place? Is it in the female's place? It's relative, okay? And it also depends on, is this person, because this is a specific question about a specific people, two specific persons now. It's not like general. If it's a first meeting, come and cook for me in my home. I'm a male. Let me say I'm a male. A female friend comes to visit me, and I'm asking that female friend to come and cook for me in my home. That's an affront. That's stupid. Okay. I mean, the female herself should beware that there is a trouble brewing somewhere. Okay. But then if I am a male, I'm a male, not if I'm a male. I'm a male now. I go to visit a female friend. Okay. I don't have to ask that female friend to cook for me. If that female friend really understands that, okay, I have a guest, you understand? So it depends on the environment, and that environment was not cleared in that question, was not made clear, okay? If your boyfriend, your dating friend, or whatever title, nomenclature you use it, you go to his place, and the first thing he says is, come and cook for me in his place. Just tell him you forgot something in the taxi, leave. Okay? No, let's seriously leave, even if you could cook, like Mrs. Banjo was saying. Okay? But then if both of you are there, you are talking, maybe for whatever reason, he just came back from work, or for whatever reason, he hadn't cooked, and your talks got to that, and two of you end up in the kitchen, and he's picking things, and there's nothing wrong with joining you guys cooking whatever it is. There's nothing, see, there's nothing wrong, it shouldn't be about sizing anybody up. It shouldn't be about sizing anybody up, okay? If you are in a relationship, whether somebody is sizing you up, whether if you have enough money, listen, it's not only cook. Somebody is sizing up whether you have enough money, who your parents are, who, Mrs. Panja, I told you a story, the very first time I really talked with you about somebody. And I told you why I declined, ran away, what, you know, when people are trying to railroad you into conforming to who they want you to be, not yourself. Just like she was saying about her husband married her for her and all. But that's also dangerous, okay? To just say anybody, if you don't accept me who I am, it should be a give and take thing, and that give and take would come with knowing yourself, not making unfair demands. Like I said, you have come to visit me, I'm your male friend, and I'm asking you, are sitting down, wait, where would I even be when I'm asking you to go and cook for me?
You are in the same house.
No. Where exactly would I be? What would I be doing when I'm asking you to go and cook for me?
I will be in the kitchen.
Where do you know? Where do you
because
know?
I'm testing you. I want to see whether you put too much salt.
Whether in America or in Africa or inside the water on top of Mount Everest, it can work. Okay. First, where does that person know that you keep whatever that's in your kitchen, that kitchen that you say go on? Okay, especially, but if it's somebody that you've known yourself for a while and then it's just speaking on yours, yeah. Okay, so basically, I don't know if we are ended up confusing you the more to know, or confusing your friend, not you now. I don't know if we have ended up
or both.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Yes, now?
It's in different contexts, like different situations, maybe in the guy's place or in the lady's place, or being just friends. So, and I think it even answers to those three different situations.
Scenario.
Yes, scenario, yes.
That's okay. Yeah.
Dr. Sarami, do you like to add anything to?
No, they have said it all. I don't need to add more to it. So the two of them have said it all. You know, I was doing some jara as they were talking. No wala. That's okay.
Was putting tomato and pepper in the bag.
But to know it's also not something any young person, especially a young female, should take for granted. Okay? There are some telltale signs you see in a relationship, and you know that this is not a place for me today. Okay, this is not what I'm looking forward to. But if you want to do something lovingly, willingly, for your friend, you could even be you and say, look, why is this house this dirty? He didn't ask you. You just say, look, you're still upside down, and you are the one, you enter the kitchen or whatever.
No,
it could happen.
Dr. Richie,
Yes,
Dr. Richie, I think you have said something which is quite important, which is the context. The context, very, very important. So, whatever the context, there is need to fit our responses to that context, which is what you said, and that really, captured everything. But I've seen a situation that a boy asked a girl to cook. Why? Because the two girlfriends he had before, the mother, I'm just saying the mother rejected them because they couldn't cook. When they went, the mother brought them to the kitchen, say, come and help me. The mother so the two of them failed the mother's test. They couldn't cook at all. They don't even know how to cook.
But could the boy cook?
The boy now.
We are discussing gender issues, Dr. Sarumi. The son, the male in that situation, could he cook?
No, I'm just bringing the context in so that you can understand.
Sir. No, but that's important.
That boy could cook because the mother had taught him how to cook. But okay. I discovered that boy now, so that boy was now afraid. So he was now the third girlfriend he had. He has to test the girl before he take the girl to the mother. And I was laughing. Say, what's your problem?
But
if you don't want to marry, you are not marrying the woman because of cooking. So why are you doing all of these things? So I'm just bringing that in, that the context which Dr. Richie said is quite important.
Well, he may be talking about context, but the context in which men often ask women to cook is part of like an audition to see if this is going to be a good wife or not.
It's not always like that.
Maybe 90% of the time.
No, I'm just, I've given that example.
It's a different situation if somebody's just hungry and says, I'm so hungry and I'm tired. Can you help me? No. That's a different one.
That's a different ballgame.
It's a different one. It's rare. Because situations I've seen, the guy is trying to test the girl's knowledge of cooking.
That's what it is always about.
We testing if the guy could cook, just like
Pastor. That is what it is all about.
All the time.
To do that auditioning, to discover whether this one can cook. I have seen it severally.
Yes, all the time.
When we do marriage counseling in the church,
I have a question of my own.
When I do marriage counseling in the church, that's one of the things I ask the bride to be. I ask them, if I ask them for about different culinary they can make to find out whether that she has dexterity in it, because I'm a very good cook. So I ask that question a lot.
Dr. Sarumi, I have a question based on that too. Now, what should we expect, okay, in a home? Seriously now, what would we expect in a home where, like, seriously, the mother of the home could not cook? Do you see that relationship lasting?
There's going to be a lot of problem in African context. There'll be a lot of
just
problem.
Africa.
In Africa, I'm not used to Western world. I'm talking about where I'm used to. In African context, you have a problem, and so such lady needs to be taught how to cook. So that's very important.
But Ms. Banjo, what do you think?
Well, if the lady doesn't know how to cook, I've seen people who are close to me who have married women who don't particularly know how to cook. But by the time they get in, it would cause issues, right? But it should not be what will destroy the marriage. It should not be what will destroy the marriage. I've seen women like that, And even me, who was much younger then, I would taste the woman's food. I would be like, Jesus, what is this? What's all the same?
It
You
can
know, at
destroy
least
home. I've seen a lot of home destroyed
A
because
lot.
the woman could not. I've
Yeah.
seen it as a pastor. I've
Yeah.
pastor for 30 years. I've
Mhm.
seen it, and I've really had to settle. I know what I'm saying. It's not the norm at all. At least
So
in our context here.
I agree with you.
In our context here.
I
So
agree
it's
that
So
going to
would we
cause, it has caused a lot
now
of
be
problems.
faulting that young
it will
man
cause
that is
it will
testing the
cause
young
problems
woman
in the
if she-
family, but it does not necessarily have to. I am talking of the situation where, you know, I mean, as young as I was then, and I visited, the man was my relation, and I tasted the food. I was like, what is this? And the man ate the food. He did not even complain. He ate it. He ate it. He ate it. No complaint.
That
No,
one is blind love. Blind love.
he didn't do face anyhow. He just
Blind.
he ate the food, and you know what? For me, you know, the respect I had for the man increased, because young me, I was eating the food and I was like, who cooks like this?
What type of food is this?
What kind of, you know, when she said, I said, you know, oh no, auntie, I've had enough.
The follow-up question
I said, oh no, wonderful. And I ate the food, but I left the place and I was like, I have respect for her husband.
So man, the follow-up question to that situation now would be, going back to Itunu's original question.
Mm-hmm.
Would we now fault that young man to say to his female friend, can you cook for me?
Yes, so I'll fault him. Why must
I will not fault him.
You will not, sir, but I will fault him.
So we see we've gone around it and we have seen that the cooking issue is an issue.
You see, when it comes to the issue for me, I mean, when it gets into any relationship, you must sit down and say, what is a deal breaker in this relationship? What's a deal breaker? If for that person, food is a deal breaker, then maybe, yeah, that might be. But if in that case, it's not a deal breaker, I mean, then it doesn't matter. That means the man is going to probably just live with whatever the woman can cook, or nicely say, let's go. I've seen a person who said, you know what, they do cooking classes here, and I'll be so delighted. He knew that his wife loved you. I'll be delighted if you can attend those classes. I've paid for them for you. And the woman attended the classes out of love, and she improved. Because I think when it comes to certain things, some people, you know, it doesn't matter what you give them. You know, there was somebody who, out of love, I was sick here, a member of my church, and she brought me soup and food. If not because of the love.
Don't finish the story. Don't finish the story.
It was like Jesus. Hey, in this, even my kids, boys are more, you know, their taste. My children could not eat the food. The boys that I would say, these boys can eat anything. They brought, say, Mom, it has no flavor at all. It's okay. But it has no flavor.
On a more serious note.
Benny, and this woman has been happily married for over 30 years. So what, I mean,
how do you define that happily married, man? How do you define that?
No, that's what they always say.
Happily,
even when they are fighting, is happily married.
They are happily married. At least they are together. According to African context, they are together. They are not outside.
Happily married in coach.
Like talking more seriously now. Miss Ban just said, even if the person couldn't cook properly. I have counseled a couple when they were in the university. Whenever he went to visit the friend before they got married, she could only boil egg and fry plantain. Well, he was always giving him boiled egg and fried plantain, and he was like, "Oh, this is good." So when they eventually got down to what he now found out that was the only thing this person could make. Okay, and he took it upon himself. He could cook. Okay, he could cook. He took it upon himself to take her to. She could even make eba, boil water and make eba. He couldn't. He took it upon himself to get her to cook. So much so that the very first time the husband's mother visited them after they got married, they served her a very delicious, well, traditional soup from where she came from. And we're like, which restaurant do you people go to buy this kind of soup from? And the young woman said, oh, Mama, I made it. You made what? I made it. They said, how? This is our traditional food. He said, yes, your son taught me. And the son came and said, Mama, yes, I taught her because you taught me. You know, so we can, like Ms. Banjo was saying, the deal breaker thing, no deal breaker thing, all of us can be perfect in doing everything. But then you see, when we now join Agidi to the not being able to do, that's when it's bad, okay? You will find that person that cannot do the cooking, and when they even come to go and take the cooking classes that Ms. Banjo suggested, and he say, you want to show you are the man of the house. No, that doesn't come down to gender or anything now, okay? Because we're discussing gender here. It doesn't come down to, it just comes down to you being able to multitask, okay? Being able to multifunction, being able to do things, because the children will come. Now you can cook. You now want to have a generation of daughters who can also not cook by not making an effort on your own. So I don't blame that young man wanting to do the test, but the motive for the test must be right. Okay.
We don't know the motive. That's what I'm saying. So there is nothing wrong with that.
Baba Pastor, you don't know the motive. You heard the motive before.
There is nothing. We have said it before. The motive we don't understand. We don't know why. There is a place it's coming from, and then because we have seen a lot of women who want to go into marriage who cannot cook, and we have to cancel them. So,
but sir, is being able to cook a characteristic for marriage?
It should be, ma'am. No, Amma, it should be.
In our culture, yeah, it is.
In any culture, it needs to be. In any culture.
In our culture in Africa, it should be. It is.
It needs to be because
I stand by that.
Cooking and feeding constitute a major...
The woman or the man?
Any one of them.
No.
Both of them.
Dr. Salome, please tell me. He said it should be.
The woman should know how to cook.
Gendered role. We are still back to this gendered role.
I stand by that.
Role. That's it now. The one that you
I stand by that. A woman should know how to cook. I'm not saying a woman should know. I'm not saying a woman should know how to cook.
Don't worry. Let the engagement go on. Don't stop it.
Yes.
That's part of gendered role. The woman must know how to cook. Even if the man cannot boil water to save his life.
Listen, Master says, both should be able to cook. Okay? But then again, that's also where the issue of courtship comes in. You would have known, okay, who could cook and who couldn't cook. And you would have known whether it's something you are willing to, to
cope with, to go along with, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the issue of the woman should not be a criteria. It has to be a criteria. Feeding
both of them. For both of them.
Not for both. For the woman.
For you, sir. That's still gender. That's still gender expectation.
Okay. Feeding constitutes a major budgetary heading in a family's, finances. Okay. So if you now have to say because somebody cannot cook and you have to go buy food outside every time, it can be cheaper for you. We have to look at this from every angle, not but I am not for, I don't have that background. I'm not for solely the women who must know how to cook. No, I can't be for it. I don't have that background. I don't bring my children up to have that background. I don't think anybody, we are discussing gender roles here. We're not discussing it as a topic. I didn't write it in a book as just a topic. It's a way of life. If you want to talk about anything, okay, put your mouth where your money, where your mouth is. If we're saying let's make corrections in society. As we're saying this here, there are still, even out here in the north here, you still have, because Canada is a cocktail of cultures, okay? Canada is not one race or one, so you have people who have come into a place like Canada with still their hang-ups from where they're coming from. Again, the reverse of that. Let me show you the other trend that has, and you intoned it, Mrs. Banjo, when you spoke about the person who asked for water to wash hands. Okay? That is the culture from where he's coming from. There was nothing wrong with his asking for the water to wash his hands. Okay? It might not be what, the issue of it's not what happens here, is still us coming from that culture that go here and say, no, men must also bring water. No, we must not disrespect our culture because we're in other places. Please. You have guests. You have guests. Sorry, man. Let me,
like we've also raised the issue of context. Everything is contextual.
Okay. Contextual, but then we'll come back to that context. But then again, we must engender a greater uptake of our cultures. If I invite guests to, I don't eat with my fingers anywhere. It was a big fight with my grandmother, my mother. I don't eat with my fingers. And the reason is simple. It has nothing to do with Oyibo or anything or learning, nothing. I just don't like the feel of oil in my fingers. Simple. That was it. Okay? And they would always be wondering how is this food going to taste in your mouth? Well, it would taste. They would see me demolish even the bokoto with the bone and everything with my cutlery and finish. But the point here is, it didn't stop me to learn because I was in an environment where you were made to learn. Okay? The example I gave earlier on was actually me and the mother of my children. Okay? All right? We're not from this. Yeah, it was. The first time my mother visited us, I love to cook and eat Igbo meals. The mother of my children was not Igbo. Okay? So I took time to, in short, she got to learn how to cook those meals even better than, so much so sometimes I'll be asking, where did you get these ingredients from? Should have found out some very rare, natural, some real traditional ingredients for cooking certain soups. She had gone to know where to get them from Lagos and all of that. This whole thing comes from people agreeing and saying, okay, you can't do this. It doesn't have to be cooking alone. There are things I don't like doing, that I'm not also good at, but cooking, if you also want to know here, if you also have a friend who cannot cook, who wants to marry, ask the friend to go and learn how to cook. It has nothing to do with, in the present economy, global economy that we're in now, where you have, who are the, Mrs. Banjo, please help me. Who are the cost keepers in a family? Who are the best cost keepers in any family? Who?
In what?
Cost keepers. But the bankers, if you like, treasurers in any family. Who?
Okay, the press keeper. They are the female now.
Is that the female? So if you now have,
but again, you are stereotyping here.
That's not stereotyping. That's a fact.
Stereotyping.
That's a fact.
Oh God, stereotyping, Galale. Oh God.
That's stereotyping.
It's not stereotyping. That's a fact.
No, because in a marriage, you have spenders and you have savers.
Spenders and savers. That's going to another area. Women always save. Always. Women always save more. Even when it is to now save the money to go and now spend it frivolously later. No, that's what
more women save more than men. Yeah, more women.
And it's scientific. Okay,
there are some men. There are some men that are spenders.
There are some
more savers than spenders. Usually, the typical thing is to hear that men are spenders, right? And that women all save. But you also have the reverse being the case in some families.
You are right. You are quite right. You are quite right.
In some cases.
That's right.
But then we are talking about the regular. If you want to, take a poll of which one ranks more, you find out that in most homes, the females want to save more for different reasons. That woman can actually be saving to spend it on herself or some personal things, but that saving first must happen. It must squeeze you, okay, take $200 to go do groceries. She will find a way to keep $20 from the $200, and she will ask for another $200 again. The other $20 is there, that happens. But I hope we have helped you or your friend.
Or both of them.
Yeah. So it still keys into the gender role.
Yeah, it's okay. It fits into it.
It fits into it. And then
I still believe though that everybody needs to know how to cook.
I know how to cook.
It should not be. Yes, I agree. I'm just.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you.
I believe everybody needs to cook. All my kids can cook. They have days that they cook. I don't care what you cook. Just go.
Everybody, in that case, everybody should also know how to do everything else, not only cook.
Exactly. See, these are life. These are life skills. Actually, you should be able to. You should be able to a high degree. Know how to live
high degree. We are qualifying it. We are qualifying it now.
No. I'm not, yes. No, this is my thinking. We will not all be perfect at everything. You may not like. Some people like to cook. They just love cooking. So for any reason, they'll cook. Now, I have a friend, that's how she de-stresses. She just goes and she just cooks.
So
her children, that's what she does to de-stress. If she feels stressed out, she will go and start cooking. And she'll feel happy.
And she'll feel good. Who will not eat the food after she has the one that she cooked under stress.
But there are some people, it is simply a life skill, because I need to be able to feed myself. I need to be able to feed my family, no more, no less. So if you tell them, just come and be cooking, they'll be like, for what? Why? They do it because they are compelled to. They have to. And there are many things that we learn, not because we just want to be doing it on a regular basis, but because when occasion demands, we should be able to do them. And I think cooking is one of those things, whether you're male.
No, I disagree, man. Cooking should not be boya toba sheshe. No, sorry, I'm speaking.
No. That's not I said when you need to. You have to, when you need
cooking
to.
Cooking is something you need to do every day because you eat every day.
Yeah, you can spend your money and go and buy. There are options.
No. I don't agree with that. I don't agree.
You should be able to.
I think no.
You should be able to cook to save your life.
I wouldn't encourage
a woman should be able to cook in order to save
to save the
home in Africa. Yes,
not just the woman.
This person that I'm talking about.
In addition,
this person that I talked about that brought me food, she's been married for more than 30 years. And she cooks, she cooks for her family.
Can you imagine what her husband would have been suffering for 30 years?
But
you only suffered it only once.
Now, hold on, Dr. Richie. Hold on. My point is this. She does cook for her family. And for her to come and cook and give me, it was a labor of love. But I don't think that is her gifting. It's not her gifting.
That's hard love for 30 years to be.
It's not her gifting. So even if she cooks for another 10 years, she won't get better.
All right. I will need to go. I have another meeting. I need to go.
Yeah, okay. You can wrap up your meeting now.
Yes, ma. Okay, what I will just say, we have said it all. We have said it all and all. And what I would just say is that on an individual level, we should stop gender discrimination. And this requires, internal reflection and willingness for both parties in terms of husband and wife to change. Because I was reading somewhere, the data is making it very clear now that gender discrimination is basically a systemic issue.
Of course.
And that paper said that the World Economic Forum estimates that it will take 135.6 years to reach gender equality.
135.6.
135.6 years, yes, to reach gender equality. And so because of that, that forum says that at every point that we find ourselves, we must ensure that there is equal access to education, empower women in the workplace. We should protect reproductive rights, and then we should strengthen legal protection to ensure that anywhere we are, people are well protected, especially the female are well protected. Then there should be provision for better medical care, because an active and better political representation, just like Dr. Rishi has said earlier. And therefore, in every society and home, we should prioritize the most marginalized so that they don't feel left out. Don't let the boys just be boys and girls be girls. Let all the chores be done by both boys and girls so that they can equally develop in a better way. That's my take up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Richie would like to
Okay.
would like you to share your takeaway from today's episode.
Thank you, but I must add that I think today's episode, today's live streaming has been the most exciting that I've been in since we started the slow parenting program, because it's a lot more interactive as we're headed. My takeaway would just be a story I have narrated here. I told a story here about what happened when my family members came to encourage me to have one more try at having a baby should my wife then deliver another baby girl. I had two girls, okay? My first daughter, second one were girls. And then she was pregnant, and they had me say that whatever happens, that was going to be the last child I was going to have, or that she was going to have, and all of that. And they were like, oh, you know who you are, you know where you come from, you have to, and we know when you say things, just promise us that even if that one comes and is a girl, that you try one more time. And I told them no. Okay, we must be able to, stand. We're talking from the family, our family posts here, our family places here. We're not talking general. We're talking about you, me. What you do, you listening to me from at home, wherever you are now, you're looking at. We're talking about what you are doing in your home to break down those gender role barriers, okay? What makes a female child different from a male child? It's what is about how you encourage them, you inspire them to be themselves, to be the best they could be. Their gender don't matter anything. It's we that puts, is the parents starting, then society reinforces those things. But if you as parents have imputed in your children that there's nothing a boy can do that you cannot do as a girl, you a boy, there's nothing demeaning that girls do that you shouldn't be able to do. There's nothing you do as a boy that will belittle you to say that's not a boy's thing. They will gladly go ahead to do those things. So we do not continue to bow to traditional pressures, cultural pressures, to, play along those preferential lines, even when we are not realizing that's what we are doing. People would come, institutions will come, challenges will come. They will tell you if you don't have a male child, there's no inheritance and all of that. Use the legal statutes. Our legal statutes don't talk about right male, okay? You're talking about you as an individual. Okay, so you, the father, you're having females, don't bow to that tradition to say that if you are no longer there, your family cannot inherit your property. Go and do a will and state what you want in your will, in accordance with your family values, the boundaries you have set in your families, the goals you've set with your children, what you have agreed to do. Don't leave anything to chance. Don't assume things would happen because you say them. Put things, legalize your decisions and let your children know that. Hopefully, as they start their own families as well, okay, they will continue and then maybe inspire some other people in society, and then maybe we'll cut that 136-year gender equality by half somewhere along the line. Thank you.
Okay, just to jump into that 130 something, even that 130 something, maybe it's even actually being very ambitious. Who knows? America, which is supposed to be the greatest democracy on earth, after 300 years in, they are just getting the first vice president. So it still tells you that this patriarchy is still alive and well, and we're still shouting. Maybe in another 200 years, I don't know. Maybe it'll be possible. But anyway, the takeaway is that a child is a child. And we need to desensitize ourselves to looking at everything through the lens of gender. That girls don't do this, boys don't do this. We should stop reinforcing that or reinscribing those stereotypes in the minds of our children. We should allow them to be whatever they want to be. And we should teach all of them, whether they're boy or girl, basic life skills. Cooking is a basic life skill as far as I'm concerned. And nobody should be testing any girl to see if she can cook to be a future wife. So those are certain things that should apply to both genders, so that, so if all of them, if we're raising them up equitably, we're exposing them to the same things, we're teaching them the same values, the same cultural expectations, then there won't be problems when they grow up. So we won't have a girl who cannot cook and a husband who cannot cook and is expecting the girl to be an iron chef. So we need to, as right from when they're kids, let them know, let them understand a child is a child, and we should not be paying lip service to it, to this gender equity we're talking about. I think that a lot of times we're being politically correct, and at the heart of us, we're still very gendered people. And we still think along those gendered stereotypes, and we keep perpetuating and reproducing it, even though inside of us we are saying, "Oh yeah, yes, yes, a boy should not. What a girl can do, a boy can do better." We're still thinking like that. We're speaking like that, but in our heart of hearts, we're not practicing that. But if parents can break out of that mold and begin to speak and do what they're speaking, because we still have a very tokenist approach to women representation. You have a committee where there are 20 men and there's just one woman. Let's just show that there's a woman there to show that a woman is represented. But let's, starting from the home, which is, a microcosm of the society, let's start from practicing those values, and we'll see that it's going to, probably speed up this thing that I'm talking about. But as things are, we're playing lip service, we are being politically correct. We still have more than another 300 years to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you to all our resource persons for their contributions. Thank you. And with that, we've reached the end of today's slow parenting episode. As parents or prospective parents, apply what you've learned to navigate the complexities of parenting. Follow us at Slow Parenting on Facebook, YouTube, and nostalgiamedia.net. You can also share your opinions and questions from any of the episodes to our team so we can address them. Join us again next Wednesday, same time, same place, and goodbye.
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 Bye.
Good night. Bye.